It's kind of wild how much of our work life and even personal life
Yeah.
happens in these little boxes now. Zoom, Teams, Meet.
Oh, yeah. They're
Yeah,
basically the new meeting rooms, the new coffee shops, even.
totally.
Hmm.
But speaking up in those spaces,
Yeah,
especially if English isn't your first language, it can feel, a bit tricky sometimes.
definitely. There's the tech, the slight delay, maybe, figuring out when to jump in.
Right. Like, am I interrupting? Can they actually understand me?
Yeah.
Do I sound, confident enough?
It's a whole different ball game than face to face. You lose some of those cues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, we've looked at some really good stuff on how to communicate effectively in English during these online meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal really is to give you some practical phrases, things you can use like right away to feel a bit more comfortable, a bit more clear.
And these are phrases native speakers use all the time, often without even thinking about it. They're sort of the grease that keeps the conversation wheels turning smoothly online.
Yeah, it's often not about fancy words, is it? It's these like small functional phrases that make a big difference.
Precisely. They signal things, manage the flow, check understanding. Really useful.
Okay, so let's get into it. We've picked out 5 key phrases for today. And the first one, honestly, it's fundamental. It's, can everyone hear me okay?
The absolute starting point. Before anything else happens, can people actually hear you?
Yeah, picture it.
Yeah.
You just pop into the meeting, or maybe you're about to start your bit. You'd say something like, hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
And hopefully you get back a, yep, loud and clear,
Yeah.
or yes, we can.
So when's the best time to use this? Seems obvious, but
Well, definitely right when you join or just before you start presenting or speaking for a chunk of time. It's
Yeah.
just polite, catches any tech issues immediately, shows you're kind of setting things up properly.
are there other ways to say it if you want to mix it up?
Sure, you could go with, can you hear me clearly? That works. Or even just a quick, is my mic working?
So,
They all do the same job, really. Just a quick audio check.
and why is this simple question actually so effective? Beyond just the tech check, I mean.
Well, like I said, it signals professionalism. It shows you're taking responsibility for making sure communication can actually happen.
Okay.
Plus, it prevents that awkwardness later where you've been talking for 5 minutes and someone finally types in the chat, we can't hear you. It saves time and potential embarrassment.
Good point. Any quick tips for how to say it?
Yeah, I mean, try to sound clear and reasonably paced. Maybe even like a slight smile if your camera's on it can warm up your tone.
Right.
And definitely pause after asking. Give people a second to actually respond.
Don't just barrel ahead assuming it's fine.
Exactly.
What about what not to do?
Oh, try not to sound panicked or hesitant. Like, can anyone possibly hear me?
Yeah. Creates a weird vibe.
It does. Just aim for calm and friendly. A simple, confident, can everyone hear me okay? Great, let's get started then. It sets a much better tone.
Okay, solid advice. Let's move to phrase number 2. This one.
Oh boy, we've all been there. Sorry, I think you're on mute.
Ah, the classic, yes. The soundtrack to countless online meetings.
Totally. So the scene is
Yeah.
your colleagues talking, lips moving, maybe they're getting really animated, but there's just silence.
Dead air. That's your cue.
That's when you jump in with, sorry, I think you're on mute. So pretty straightforward meaning, right?
Yeah, it just means, hey, your mic's off.
Yeah.
And you use it exactly then when someone's trying to talk, but nothing's coming through.
It happens so often.
Constantly. So there's
Yeah.
really no need to feel awkward pointing it out. You're actually helping.
Are there slightly, gentler ways to phrase it so you don't make them feel called out?
You could soften it a bit. Maybe you might be muted. Or sometimes people say, we can't hear you, just checking if you're muted.
Okay.
The key is just sounding helpful, not annoyed.
And why is saying this so useful for the meeting flow?
Oh, it's a huge time saver. It stops those long, awkward pauses while everyone waits or tries to figure out what's wrong. Right.
You just quickly point it out, they unmute, and the conversation keeps rolling. Smooths things right over.
Pro tip for the delivery.
Keep it light, keep it friendly. Definitely no hint of frustration, even if it's the third time for that person in the meeting.
Haha, yes. Patience.
Patience is key. And if your camera's on, maybe a little smile or a quick wave can help convey that you're just trying to be helpful.
That visual helps. Can you maybe combine it with their name or something?
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to do it. Something like, hey, Sarah, I think you might be on mute. Just a heads up.
Just a heads up. Nice touch.
Yeah, using their name makes it direct but friendly. And heads up frames it as just a helpful reminder, not a criticism.
Okay, cool. Phrase number 3. This is another essential one. Could you repeat that, please?
Absolutely vital, especially online where audio can sometimes be iffy or people talk fast.
Yeah, so the situation is someone said something, maybe it was too quick, maybe there was a weird noise, maybe your connection just blipped for a second.
You just didn't get it.
Right. What's the go-to phrase?
The standard, very polite one is, sorry, could you repeat that, please? The sorry just softens it nicely.
Okay. Any other natural ways to ask?
Sure. You could say, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? That's pretty common.
Right.
Or maybe slightly more formal. Would you mind repeating that? They all work.
And why is it better to ask rather than just nod and hope you understood?
Oh, definitely ask. It shows you're actually listening and trying to understand properly.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's totally normal in any conversation, especially fast-paced ones or ones with tech involved.
Yeah.
Asking for a repeat prevents misunderstandings later. It shows you care about getting it right.
Good point. Any tips for when you do ask?
Try not to over-apologize. Just one quick sorry is usually enough.
Okay.
Keep your tone calm. Maybe lean in a little if your camera's on. Make eye contact. Show you're engaged.
And is there like a pro combo version of this phrase?
Yeah, a really good, concise one is, sorry, I missed that. Could you repeat it, please?
Ah, okay. Short and sweet.
Exactly. Covers all the bases. Polite apology. Clear reason, clear request. Very professional.
All right, moving on. Phrase 4 is for when you need to show something. Let me share my screen.
Yes. The gateway to presentations, document reviews, demos, anything visual online.
So you've got your slides ready or a website or whatever it is you need to show people. How do you signal that?
The most common and clearest way is just, let me share my screen. Everyone knows exactly what's coming next.
Simple enough. Any alternatives?
You could say, I'm going to share my screen now. Pretty direct. Or maybe give a little context first, like, okay, I want to walk you through this report, so let me share my screen.
Okay. And why bother saying it? Why not just click the button?
Well, it's a transition marker. It gives people a heads up, like, okay, shift your focus from my face to the screen now.
Right. Personalize it.
Exactly. It helps structure the meeting, signals you're moving into presentation mode or whatever, avoids that jarring feeling of the screen suddenly changing without warning.
Makes sense. What's a really crucial pro tip for making screen sharing go smoothly?
Okay, this is key. Say the phrase before you click share. Let people know it's coming.
Okay.
And then after you think it's shared, follow up with something like, can everyone see my screen now? Or let me know when you can see it.
That follow-up is huge.
It is, because sometimes it takes a second to load, or maybe you shared the wrong window. That quick check confirms everyone's looking at the same thing you are, avoids you talking to a blank screen.
Been there.
Yeah.
Okay. Example of a smooth delivery.
Sure, something like, okay, let me share my screen real quick here. All right, you should be seeing the presentation now. Calm, clear, and includes that check.
Nice. Okay. 5th and final phrase for today. This one's about contributing. I'd like to add something to that.
Yes, a really great one for collaboration, for adding your thoughts without just, barging in.
So your teammate's talking, sharing an idea, and you have something that builds on it or maybe a different perspective. How do you get in there politely?
Using that phrase, I'd like to add something to that, is a really smooth entry point.
Okay.
It signals respect for the person speaking. You're not cutting them off. You're linking your thought to theirs.
What about other ways to phrase that?
You could also say, just to build on that, which is very collaborative. Or maybe a touch more formal, if I may add something, or could I jump in there quickly?
Why is using a phrase like,
It gives the current speaker a moment to finish their sentence naturally, and it lets everyone's attention shift to you before you launch into your point. Avoids that awkward collision.
right, that split-second timing thing again. Any good fluent combo examples?
Sure, you could say, I'd like to add something to that. I was just thinking about the budget implications we discussed last week. See? Polite entry, then straight into the relevant point.
Perfect. So that's 5 really practical, usable phrases. Stuff that can genuinely help you feel more confident, more clear in those online English meetings.
Exactly. And like we said, it's often not about knowing tons of complex vocabulary. Confidence comes from mastering these simple functional tools. They let you navigate the conversation effectively.
Totally agree. So here's a little challenge for you listening. Pick maybe 2 of these phrases, just 2, and consciously try to use them in your next online meeting. Could be work, could be a social thing. Just give it a go.
Yeah, maybe even practice them out loud beforehand. Just saying them a few times can make them feel more natural when the moment comes. You could even record yourself quickly on your phone just to hear how it sounds.
That's a great idea. Practice really does build that fluency muscle.
It does. And remember, these are small steps, but using them consistently makes a real difference over time. Don't be afraid to try.
Absolutely. Everyone starts somewhere, right? Often just with a few key phrases. So maybe today's the day you start feeling a bit more empowered in those virtual rooms.
Definitely. And maybe something to think about further is how these small verbal adjustments, these little phrases, actually shape how people perceive you online. Your presence, your influence. It's subtle, but it's powerful, worth paying attention to as you keep communicating in these virtual spaces.